met the DIA general at Longbeard. When delivering Army supply system and intelligence computer tapes to the various outposts in the Pacific, the DIA had its own military arm that didn't exist, a phantom arm. Somewhere in the darkest night peace will come, as the spirit flies, as you weave a spell by another name, that causes the snow to fall with the summer rain in the Cambodian jungle, as I flee through it, as the boy who was once on the cross-country team. Then I will come to you, my love, with the passing of the days, and I will set you free each time, your round-eyed beauty much more appreciated in the land of Hawaii, where east ever meets west and blends, to remove the chains that bind your heart. Innocence may die, and wiser men will somehow remain the same, and you and I will take our place in time, and find a way to fly, far beyond the crystal sea. I can hear all your whispered dreams and the endless signs of the ones who love. They live on in the stars above. Then I will come to you, my love, with the passing of the days, and I will set you free each time. The Rouge were killing the doctors and the professionals, and the general could not take this. His will and valor would transfer onto all of us. Come away to fly. We will set them free. There was an ebb and flow to the general's prey and charges, large successes like the surprise one, although a setback to us, at first, losing several troops, and an officer, when stumbling onto such a large Clemmer contingent, followed by lulls in which intelligence was analyzed as far away as Hawaii, as it was from there that the overall Pacific was commanded. You sped my step, he said to her and to me from here to long ago, whilst everyone attempted to retard it, as even now the four winds are ever warning of the reports, of the last resort, of the tip of the iceberg that has now globally warmed away, for spring is sprung in spurts, and as yet of the joy that never left. We were on the wrong side of the river, by purpose, in Cambodia, which was fine, for we barely existed, with no records kept. We were in the wrong place, too. One of our air mishaps, as it turned out, and actually one very early on, of a cascade of unfortunate events that was not totally unplanned for. Always have an out, for there will be those times of woe. We, the intelligence officers, had been inserted along with the DIA, Special Troops, another nameless non-designation, and they were with us, for we supported each other. The action had been going fairly well, as planned. The many opposing rampages led not so much by reason but by the beast that was ever part and parcel of man. The fire engagement was over, for now, in the main, as a retreat had been called by the captain of the section upon detection of a larger than expected approaching ground force. This fallback being somewhat hindered by some opposition stragglers whose spirits had been bolstered by the sight of an entire Khmer Rouge division boldly crossing along an open field, which could become good luck, or not, for either side. The tail end of the section retreaters was further slowed by the carrying and stretchering of our dead and wounded. Actually, the surprise incursion had gone well, but for the fact that we two remaining were now pinned to the ground just inside the front edge of the tree line, as all hell was breaking loose, shattering the forest trees and their branches. The special troops had just begun their slowed retreat, and we could leave no one behind but ourselves. My major friend and I, the lead rouge, were advancing, haphazardly, with some old damn assorted mini-artillery, with an entire battalion or division some ways behind. We would not last where we were, but we had to stay behind for yet another reason, for we were the information and intelligence gatherers when in the field and on the ground, as well as back at our base in Hawaii. All we had was a machine gun, but a large one, hidden a bit further back in the woods, recently dug out of the ground, where we had left it on a prior occasion of reckon. Always think many moves ahead, yet it was not quite the right time to retrieve it and use it, which is of knowing when to move, not just where, on the chessboard, for we'd have to be somewhat exposed to use it, plus it wouldn't be that useful against the machines firing into our area, and it would draw attention to our troops' retreat path, for the KR didn't exactly know where we were, or if any of us still were. Do not show yourself until you have to. We had to survive at least 10 more long minutes. The fire was beginning to converge on us, whether by luck or a good sense of sweep, from either side, but not yet straight on, where a medium-sized boulder sat, just up ahead in the grassy field, as to why we had chosen the spot, do or die. We dashed out and crept up to it already having an end split just off of it. We needed more time, at least many or several minutes. We dug out the ground behind the really big rock a foot or so deep, exposing the part of the boulder yet underground, and laid in the depression. Another minute or so and the above ground portions of the rock would be gone, and soon they were, shattering and flying away. The enemy would see no one behind the rock, which was no longer there, but just might figure it out soon. I raised a small bending scope and noted the yet noiseless jets approaching on the horizon, behind the battalion, as well as a vanguard of Clemens approaching at 600 yards. We just needed 60 seconds now, or even half. As it turned out, the music began to play upon the drama. For 30 seconds, the enemy first heard the sounds of the jets, crying to all the rest to retreat. Yet some of the vanguard still ran toward our woods, perhaps preferring that over an open field. Not good, neither for us nor for the special troops that were still retreating through the forest, who could still become targets at the river shore clearing. While boarding, at 0 seconds, the airstrike landed on the main battalion, a fine diversion for us eyes, and so we rose from our would-be graves and ran back into the woods, rolling out the machine gun, blasting most of the oncomers away for quite a while. The chess moves had come to pass, although still ongoing into new territory. The machine gun finally overheated and jammed. We made no pause, which is more of the training. And so we were up and off into the jungle like bats out of hell, not wanting to become meatloaf. The enemy, a bit shocked at the silence, had taken rather too long to give chase, but that they then did, yet still 100 yards off or more. Their beat and their one lucky projection blasting the major to bits and instant death with some great munition. Just 20 yards behind me, he an older man and of a high rank, as I was a lieutenant. The rock had been hard, and the road of the trail was long, yet I knew that the general would not leave me behind, as long as I was relatively on time and or could give him some indication that I was alive. Pending, of course, the fact that we weren't supposed to be here, and the less attention on it the better. The arriving enemies at the shore, if more came in greater numbers, could be better dealt with by firing on them from the other side of the river. I reached for the radio, but then remembered that it had been assigned to the major, my mentor and my friend, even though I wasn't even a captain yet, nor now even the total captain of my fate, for the chessboard had now crashed and fallen to the ground. This young lieutenant of myself at 40 years ago believed that luck would never fail, so he ran like the wind through the jungle, surely knowing he'd what he'd come for, now hopeful to find the help at the shore. The relentless ones were not far behind, that ill-fated menace of the bad kind. Misfortune laughed and said, "No road could be too hard to tread, for we are fearless." To those, a boon, for they ever seize the opportune. I see you, first happening, just past a sharp turn, in the trees. He suddenly dropped to his knees and fired into his pursuers mean as they came upon the scene, using all his ammo but for one round, then hurried on, with nary a sound. I am wide aware, Miss Karma, of this continuing dharma that chance shines as my sun, for she, in turn, happens on every one. Oh, say it is your lot, my friend and lover, she answered back, granting him cover. Listening, he could hear ever more troops rushing through the night, in groups, about a half-mile back, around the loops. Far enough away, I gratefully welcome thee, Miss Lady Luck of Dice, though I may pay a late fee for my pick-up so precise. M's Destiny Serendipity smiled, saying, "The game is on, we're yet alive and playing. Let joy and innocence prevail, believe that luck will never fail." He moved on, ever faster, cheating lame old death, a third wind becoming of her vaporous breath, it blowing this dire operative onward to the shore, ever toward. He could hear the whirling chopper, but now receding was its Doppler, he thus grieving of its leaving. Am I much too late, still too far? Shall I curse you all? Destined stars know, said lovely dear twisted fate, for you have one bullet left for chance, not to use to sleep or dream perchance. But the chopper was rising nigh, up into the star-crossed sky. Sure to self I take this bullet now that the bus has left her. No, Miss Lucky, break encouraged, do not be at all discouraged, for you know it shall not be so, and what with it you now must do. Yes, perhaps it shall be so in some plight coinciding in a most kempt and hapful night. He smiled and then knelt to ground, and sent his last bright trace around just ahead of the copter now departing, his minor wounds yet sorely smarting. I bless you with all my lucky charms, my good and well-fated man of arms. The dull gunner noted the red tracer and whence it came with the river vapors. Captain, turn back and take a look. Here awaits a fortuitous accidental fluke. I am an uncursed, non-jinxed agent man. Let my joyous innocence prevail again. He jumped into the rescue's hovering haven, directing the door gunner's firings. Raven, fare thee well. My knightly knight Dame Fortune wished upon his side. You recognized me even in the dark. Oh, my angel, lovely lark, I might have known it was you who would ever see me through.